What really happened to romantic comedies? I mean, the genre that was once the breadwinner of Hollywood suddenly just died down. To get to the bottom of this, we need to understand a few things. For as long as anyone can remember, romantic comedies have had pretty much the same structure. If you want to make a successful romantic comedy, there are a few things you cannot miss. Which is why at one point they were called formula films. Take for instance, It Happened One Night. The film was released in 1934, and the plot, simply put, is that two lovable characters who loathe each other are put into situations where they're forced to spend time together. Now, while the time spending is taking place, these characters realize, you know what, you're not that bad. I think I kinda like you. But of course, this is not how it ends. One character is gonna mess up big time, and usually it's the guy. He'll make up for it either by giving a speech or through a grand gesture, and the lovable characters must fall in love and prove that no matter how big their differences are or how big the conflict is, love at the end of the day is always gonna be bigger.
I love you, nothing else matters.
Sweet, right? Fast forward to about 90 years and we have Palm Springs. Two lovable characters forced to spend time with each other, things fall apart, the guy pulls off a grand gesture, wins the girl back, and they live happily ever after. My favorite George Lucas quote is, if the boy and girl walk off into the sunset hand in hand in the last scene, it adds $10 million to the box office. So maybe the genre that was reigning over Hollywood for so long was bound to come to an end. I mean, how many times are we gonna root for Tom Hanks to win that blonde girl back before we realize we've been watching these same love stories on repeat? But this can't be the only reason why rom-coms are dying, right? Reuters have done an excellent job compiling the data of the top 20 highest grossing films from 1980 to 2022. And you'll notice that the golden age of romantic comedy started somewhere around 1989 after the release of When Harry Met Sally. Rom-coms were profitable before that, but When Harry Met Sally opened new doors for the genre. Not only was it critically appreciated, it grossed around $92 million on its $16 million budget. Then, throughout the 90s, multiple rom-coms were in the top 20 box office list. Movies like Pretty Woman, Sleepless in Seattle, Groundhog Day, and Notting Hill are a few to name. According to Reuters, the early 2000s brought the peak of the romantic comedy genre. My Big Fat Greek Wedding is the highest grossing romantic comedy to date. I mean, it made over $350 million over its $5 million budget. Almost every year, rom-coms were making it to the highest grossing films, one way or the other. Love was selling, and boy was it selling well. But you know how it goes. All great things must come to an end. Cinema just changed during the mid-2000s. Maybe people just got bored with these stories. It just wasn't doing anything for us. You know the tropes really got overused when you realized that No Strings Attached and Friends with Benefits were released in the same year. Like, they're practically the same films. That has to be the final nail in the coffin. I mean, Avatar was released in 2009 and it completely redefined the cinema experience. Even the producers were no longer interested in making the same old rom-coms after the massive success of Avatar. It's weird how the genre just died like that. But I guess that's Hollywood. From 2010 to 2022, there's only one rom-com that made it to the top 20 list, and of course, it's Crazy Rich Asians. OTT platforms like Netflix and Prime are holding the genre by its last thread by producing films like To All the Boys I've Loved Before and Your Place or Mine. But deep down, we all know that the prime of this genre has come to an end. A very common opinion people usually put forward is that romantic comedies are a tumor for your brain. It puts unrealistic expectations and sets the bar too high. Well, they might be right, but isn't this the case with all movies? Aren't films supposed to take you to a different reality altogether and make you feel something completely new? If rom-coms make people expect grand and expensive gestures from lovers, then sci-fi films must make their audience expect to blast off into space to fight Darth Vader. Except they don't. The expectation for romantic partners to go great lengths to win their lover's heart is not a concept that was born of the romantic comedy genre. It's as old as time. In the words of Jean-Luc Godard, cinema is the most beautiful fraud in the world. So, what are my thoughts regarding all this? Well, I definitely think times have changed and so has the genre. It might not be the most profitable anymore, but it still surprises us every now and then. And yeah, nothing beats When Harry Met Sally or The Wedding Planet for me, but then again, that just might be my nostalgia. You know, it's just how we like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but Nothing beats Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man for us, and that's because we practically grew up with him. Similarly, these kids grew up with Tom Spider-Man, and that'll be their nostalgia. And it goes on. And modern rom-coms aren't all that bad when you think about it. In many ways, they're even better. There's more diversity, there's well-rounded characters, so that just forces me to think maybe it's us, maybe we've outgrown them to some degree, if that makes sense. For the time that has passed on, and as cliche as this may sound, I guess all I can say is don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And that's all for today. It's our first ever video on YouTube, so please don't forget to interact with the algorithm so it thinks I'm cool and it shows you more of the stuff that we bring your way. And we will be bringing more stuff your way soon. And until then, I guess I'll see you at the movies.